back at Woodgas. We're doing a demonstration of our gasifier here in 9 Mile Falls, Washington. We're going to be showing the Big Dragon reactor and the 6.5 horse engine that is going to be run off of Woodgas. As you can see, the engine doesn't have a gas tank on the top here. We've done everything to provide evidence that, hey, this is the real deal, because when we first started in this industry, we was like, does this really work? Well, it does, and it saved us last week when we had the tornado come through and knock out the power in hot temperatures when we were needing to keep the freezers on. We're sitting here 81 degrees on the engine. Here's the alternator showing, should be about the same, yeah, about 81 degrees. And so that's a cold to the touch, been sitting all night, hasn't run. And then over here, for reference, the fuel hopper is 84. It's black, so it's absorbed some temperature, heat. So 83 degrees. Down in the ash area, 82 degrees.
So I unscrewed the cap on the ignition port here. I've already filled it full of wood pellets to about here, which is the fuel I chose to use today just for convenience purposes. And the thing that you've got to remember about the ignition port is not to burn yourself. When you're using a fan, initially what I do is I'll use this fan to slowly draw air through until I get a good plume of smoke that tells me it's lit. And without removing it, you need to put the cap on. If you forget to put the cap on and flip the fan over, it's going to shoot hot debris out onto you. And possibly, depending upon how well lit it is, it might shoot out a 10-15 inch flame along with it. Okay, so I'm going to start the process of igniting the, I'll have you plug the fan in just so it's ready. The truck direction and the blow direction. If you look here, you can see it's starting to produce some smoke. I periodically just check the flame to make sure it's actually still going. I've got the valve open on my test port. This is where I do a test burn to make sure it's actually gasifying. So before I even really adjust or take this out, because the flames already went out anyway, I'm going to put the cap on. Really important to get the cap on even before you do that. Got a pretty good cloud going, so I should have an adequate fire lit. I'm going to reverse the fan and I'll start seeing smoke come out of here. You may occasionally get a little puff here as it warms up. I've actually had it bounce the fan slightly. And what I do is I keep the torch available so that I can light them. When this gets to the point where it'll light and stay lit, it's gasified. The can is there as a diffuser to mix air with it as it's forced in so that it'll actually ignite. If you don't like that amount of smoke, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just set the torch on there to kind of knock it down a little bit. So it's actually burning some of the smoke up. So it's not quite as big a cloud. You'll notice there's not much smoke anymore. It's getting really close already because it's essentially burning everything that's here. It's actually self-lit right now, which is really quick. So that must mean that with the high temperatures, our wood pellets have dried out in the bags quite a bit. They ship a little moisture. So I'll usually let that burn for a minute or so, at the most, just to make sure it's nice and stable. I might initially, just because I first started it, just activate the shaker once to make sure any ash that was left from behind. I know it's gasifying because of the light, so I just close that. That's just where I test it to see that it's already doing what it's supposed to do. You know, that it's actually got to the point where it'll light. So throttle choke set to run, oxygen's most of the way open, and as you can see I've got wood gas starting to, it's kind of hard to see in the wind, but I've got wood gas that's basically coming out.
Let him set the valve there.
The valve's right. Yeah.
thanks for watching our video. We've demonstrated here at the farm today, at the factory as well, that we produce good wood gas. You can start an engine real quick. Initially, you'll spend a little bit of time figuring out the air-gas ratio. But once you figure that out, pull start rather than electric start. You can pull start this engine. So hopefully you've enjoyed the film, and contact us, sales@tacticalwoodgas.com for any questions. Thanks.